Today we will discuss a very important aspect of knowing the instrument sitar. We will discuss different strings and their gauge. For Gandhar Pancham sitar to start with, and then we will discuss about Kharaj Pancham sitar, and then we will also discuss about Surbahar. Gandhar Pancham sitar is having 6 strings as the main strings which pass through the main bridge, upper bridge, this bridge, and we have generally 12 sympathetic strings which pass through the smaller bridge. These are the khuti or peg for the sympathetic strings, the smaller ones, and these bigger ones you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This 6 khuti or pegs, they are connected to the main strings which we play, and this particular khuti in the peg in the Gandhar Pancham sitar is blank. It is not connected with any string. So we know the names of the strings. This is the main string or Nayaki string or Baj ka tar. This is the Joda string or Jod string. This is copper string. This is steel string. This is again steel string Gandhar. This is Pancham, Gandhar string and Pancham string, and these are the 2 Chikari strings. And these all remaining smaller pegs are connected with the Taraf strings or sympathetic strings. Right? So quickly we will understand the gauge of the strings. This is the main string. It's steel string. Its gauge is 3, number 3. Number 3 steel string. Gandhar and Pancham both are having the same gauge. Steel string of gauge 3. Okay, so main string, Gandhar and Pancham, these three strings are having the same gauge. They are steel strings of gauge 3. Joda string, I personally use number 26, which is a copper string or bronze string. 26 bronze string. Some people use 27, which is little thinner. I prefer a dense sound and round sound. That's why I use 26. But few people use 27 as well. These 2 chikaris in Gandhar Pancham sitar, we use number 1 steel string. The gauge is number 1, and these 2 are having steel strings. Same gauge for these sympathetic strings. I personally use gauge number 1 for all these sympathetic strings also, but few people, particularly students who don't have that strength in their hand, they generally use single 0 in the Chikari strings also and in the Taraf strings also. Right? Just to repeat, main, Gandhar and Pancham, these 3 strings in Gandhar Pancham sitar are of steel, and its gauge is 3, number 3. Joda string 26. Chikari, both the Chikaris and all the Tarafs, gauge number 1, steel string. Now let us come to Kharaj Pancham sitar. For Kharaj Pancham sitar, there are 7 strings. Main string, Pancham string and Chikari strings. They are connected to the same pegs, but the Joda string is connected to this particular khuti or peg. Laraj, which is tuned to ultra lower octave Pancham, Pa. It is tuned to ultra lower octave Pancham. This is called Laraj, and Kharaj is tuned to ultra lower octave Ati Mandra Saraj or Sa. Now quickly the gauge of the strings, main and Pancham. These 2 strings are having same gauge as steel string and number 3. Joda string in Kharaj Pancham sitar, it is of the gauge 27. The Laraj string, which is tuned to Ati Mandra Pa, is having the gauge of 24. It is a copper string. Joda string and Kharaj and Laraj, these are copper strings. So 24 gauge, Laraj string, which is tuned to ultra lower octave Pa, Ati Mandra Pancham, and the Kharaj string, which is tuned to Ati Mandra Saraj or Sa, that is of the gauge 22, copper string, gauge 22. Steel Pancham is again number 3, just similar to Gandhar Pancham, and both the chikaris are of steel strings of gauge single 0, and all the taraf strings are of gauge single 0. So for Kharaj Pancham sitar, to reiterate, main string and steel Pancham string both are steel strings and of gauge number 3. Both the chikaris and all the sympathetic strings are of steel string and of gauge single 0. Joda is of Joda and Kharaj Laraj. These 3 strings are copper strings. Gauge of Joda string is 27. Laraj, which is tuned to Ati Mandra Pa, is of gauge 24, and the Kharaj, which is tuned to Ati Mandra Sa, is of gauge 22. Now let us come to Surbahar. Okay, Surbahar, the string arrangement is exactly same as the Kharaj Pancham sitar. String arrangement I am saying, not the string gauge. Like this particular peg is, its string arrangement is little different because both sides it has pegs. Let me show the instrument, then it will be easier to understand. So this is the Surbahar. These are all the taraf strings, sympathetic strings. These are the 2 chikaris, just like sitar. Main string, Joda string, right? This is the Laraj, which is tuned to lower octave, Ati Mandra Pancham. This is the Kharaj, which is tuned to Ati Mandra Saraj, and this is Steel Pancham. Now very quickly the gauge of the strings. Okay, just like Kharaj Pancham sitar, this Joda, Kharaj and Laraj, these 3 strings are made of copper, and they have different gauge which will come. This is main string, Steel Pancham, first chikari, second chikari, and all these sympathetic strings are made of steel. Okay, now the gauge of the string. Main string is of gauge 5, 5 number, 5. Steel string of gauge 5. Pancham string is also of steel string of gauge 5. These 2 chikaris are of steel string of gauge 2, both, and all same for the sympathetic strings of gauge 2. All steel strings of gauge 2, both the chikaris and taraf. Now let us come to Joda string. Joda string is of gauge 24, which is tuned to Mandra Saptak Sa. Now Laraj string, which is tuned to Ati Mandra Pancham, is of gauge 22, and the Kharaj string, which is tuned to Ati Mandra Saraj or Sa, which is of gauge 20. This is the standard gauge. Some musicians sometimes alter little bit here and there, but these are the standard gauge which I am telling. Again, to reiterate for Surbahar, main string and Pancham string are of steel string of gauge 5. Chikaris and all the tarafs are steel strings of gauge 2. Joda string, which is tuned to Mandrasa, not Ati Mandra, Mandrasa, is of gauge 24. Laraj, which is tuned to Ati Mandra Pancham or Pa, is a copper string of gauge 22. So Joda is 24, Laraj is 22, and Kharaj, which is tuned to Ati Mandra Sa, is of gauge 20, thickest one. Okay, so hope this information is helpful for you, for the sitar practitioners and Surbahar practitioners, and for this kind of informative and educative videos, you subscribe or follow our page and channels, our social media handles. All the links will be given in the description box. For any question, just drop a note as a comment or write to me at ramprapanna.sitar@gmail.com. The email address is also given in the description box. Stay tuned and stay in music. Thank you.